The 30 most terrifying things about Jeffrey Dahmer. The only one of the prominent serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer. Here are 30 terrifying details about Jeffrey Dahmer that you need to be aware of. On May 21, 1960, Jeffrey Dahmer was born in the Evangelical Deaconess Hospital in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Jeffrey Dahmer completed his high school education at Revere High School in May 1978. After dropping out of college, Jeffrey Dahmer enlisted in the military. Preston Davis, one of the soldiers he bullied, claimed that when Dahmer was intoxicated, he would boast about his first victim. Jeffrey Dahmer committed his first murder 3 weeks after receiving his high school diploma. Stephen Hicks, an 18-year-old hitchhiker, was killed by Dahmer by being struck in the back of the skull with a dumbbell. Before killing his next victim, Dahmer waited almost 10 years after this criminal occurrence. David Dahmer is the younger brother that Jeffrey Dahmer named. Since David legally changed his name to begin a new life, there is very little to no information available about him. Many musicians inserted references to Jeffrey Dahmer in their lyrics, which led to criticism from listeners of their earlier music. For a living, Jeffrey Dahmer performed numerous odd jobs. At the Milwaukee Ambrosia Chocolate Factory, where Dahmer worked as a mixer, he stored the head of one of his victims in his locker. Aviator sunglasses are what Jeffrey Dahmer wears. Only when he was given the choice of 16 consecutive life sentences or 957 years in jail did Dahmer wear them. Jeffrey Dahmer was supposed to go to senior prom with Bridget Geiger, but instead, he split up with her to meet his boyfriend. But 3 hours after the incident, Dahmer came back and offered to drive Geiger home. Fortunately, Geiger was sent home without incident despite Dahmer's slight intoxication. A few months later, Dahmer told Geiger he was gay. On May 10, 1994, Jeffrey Dahmer was baptized while incarcerated. Jeffrey Dahmer required booze to murder his victims because he didn't want to kill them. The families of Dahmer's victims attempted to sue Budweiser as a result of this information. They asserted that Dahmer's drinking and subsequent crimes were directly related to the company's advertisement. Adroit Theory, a different brewery, created a murder box of beer honoring Dahmer and other serial killers. In 2012, Jeffrey Dahmer's high school buddy Dirk Factor created the graphic novel My Friend Dahmer, which Mark Myers later adapted into a film. It depicted Dahmer's life before turning into a serial killer, including his high school loneliness in spite of his attempts to make friends. Dahmer continued to make horrific jokes while incarcerated by dressing up his food as body parts and using ketchup to represent blood. For his victims, Dahmer utilized the medication Halcyon. According to Dahmer, his victims' meat tasted like filet mignon. Jeffrey Dahmer has a Star Wars obsession in addition to his obsession with The Exorcist III. Dahmer even wore yellow contact lenses to make him look like the Emperor from Star Wars. There were plans to create a memorial for Dahmer's victims, however, Cavalier Johnson, the mayor of Milwaukee at the time, decided against it because he thought it might attract people with bad intentions, like Dahmer's supporters who sent the serial killer letters and money while he was incarcerated. A total of $12,000 was sent to Dahmer while he was imprisoned by his admirers. When he was younger, one of Jeffrey Dahmer's few passions was taxidermy, or the preservation of an animal's skin. Dahmer didn't injure any other creatures, not even Frisky, his dog when he was 7 years old, save than murdering tadpoles with motor oil. He experimented with physical things like tennis and joined the high school band in addition to these repulsive pursuits. Inside the room of his apartment, Jeffrey Dahmer kept a blue drum containing 3 dismembered torsos that had been dissolved in acid. According to Dahmer, he did this to remember their appearance and to remain with them. This also clarifies why he recorded images of his victims before, during, and after the crime. Because of Dahmer's unsettling prison behavior that made other convicts uncomfortable, Christopher Scarver killed him in the prison gym using a metal rod that he took out of some exercise equipment. At the age of 34, Dahmer was killed on November 28, 1994. Although everyone has a dark side, Jeffrey Dahmer's was much more sinister. You may never be able to look at a blue drum in the same way again because of Jeffrey Dahmer's horrific deeds.